So the past couple of days, I've been going through a lot of coaching calls with very similar topics, exactly the same topics every single time, and that is addiction. So the guy will come to me and say, oh, we'll have a chat at first, pleasantries, get to know each other, whatever it may be. And every single time it's the same thing. I'm on self-improvement, I'm working hard, I'm going to the gym, I'm improving my social skills, I'm getting more confident now, but there's just pornography addiction, or video games, or alcohol, or weed. There's always this one vice that holds them back from achieving the life that they actually want to achieve. Okay? And it's sad because the only difference between the kind of guy that actually does make it and actually achieves the financial freedom and the physique and the life that he wants, that he envisions in his brain, versus the guy that just never makes it, fails, ends up just being a crackhead. The difference between those two guys is the control that he has over his vices, right? Because we all have vices. And this is one of the problems that you keep making, is that you're refusing to accept that. That's a normal part of human neuroplasticity, is to strive towards pleasure, strive towards dopamine. All that your caveman brain cares about is keeping you alive, is keeping you comfortable in your little bubble, right? And the only way that it knows how to do that is by striving and chasing after pleasure, chasing after dopamine, because it feels good, right? So what this means is every single time you have indulged in some sort of vice, whether that be video games, pornography, alcohol, drugs, and you lose the control over it, is because, number one, you don't have an understanding of how your dopamine receptors work, okay, which I'm going to explain in a second. But number two is you most likely find some sort of content on the internet, such as Hamza or Andrew Tate, or some sort of self-improvement content that tells you you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be doing this if you want to be successful. And then subconsciously in your mind, you're going to be thinking to yourself, well, if I do this action, if I drink alcohol, watch pornography, play video games, I will never be successful. So then what you're trying to do is resist it. I'm not allowed to do it, I'm not allowed to think about it, go away, go away, go away. You're fearing it in your mind. Now I'm going to get to that in a second and why that's so bad, right? First of all, we'll talk about the dopamine. Because the only thing that I've really struggled with in terms of my vices was maybe pornography when I was a bit younger, video games for a little bit, but every single time I've realized that, okay, these things aren't good for me, they're not really doing anything good for my life in terms of getting me towards the goals that I want to achieve, right? Because I feel like we all go through these phases. We play the video games, we indulge in the vice, we drink the alcohol, and we don't realize what it's actually doing to us. We don't realize the negative effect that it's having on us until it's too late. Or until somebody else wakes us up, somewhere on the internet, right? And you realize, and you start to think, you start to question, well, okay, maybe alcohol isn't the best for me. Maybe I should stop doing that every weekend. But then this is where the whole process of the addiction comes in, and the whole cycle of just relapsing, right? We'll keep rolling, bro, fuck it. Let me set you up properly. So then now you've realized that it's bad for you, but you just can't seem to stop it. So then you're still playing the video games even though you shouldn't. You're still watching the porn even though you shouldn't be doing it. And this is the worst part. Because before you were ignorant and it's fine. Oh, I don't know any different. Porn, nothing wrong with it. Video games, it's fun. Alcohol's all right every now and then on the weekend. So the ignorance is bliss, it really is. The thing is though, is your brain has a balancing system. So dopamine is, in other words, the pursuit of pleasure. It's a reward. It's the pleasurable chemicals, the feel-good chemicals that are released in your brain, right? Now, the opposite to pleasure is pain. Everything in life has a balance. Everything has a polar opposite. It's all got this one-sided thing. Sunshine, rain, bad, good, positive, negative, pain, pleasure. You with me? So every time you get this overwhelming indulgence in pleasure, you're going to start to feel pain kick in, because that's your brain trying to balance out the receptors. If you're just pleasure, dopamine, your brain's then going to start releasing pain chemicals to balance that out, all right? Now this is why you feel shit, this is why you feel, you get a come down after you've had a booze night or whatever it may be. You played video games all night, you wake up and feel like shit the next day. You feel guilty after you watch porn. This is why, because your brain's trying to balance out those overloading of dopamine pleasurable chemicals in your brain. So number one, in order to stop this, in order to kick your addiction, is to understand how your dopamine receptors work and to do it in moderation. Now, I used to think that, balance is for pussies. If you have balance, you just, you're a bitch, whatever. I used to have this weird extremist mindset. Please, for your own sake, don't feed into that. Because I'm sure we can both agree the best version of yourself is the one that's open-minded, is the one that looks at life from all different perspectives, takes the good from everything, discards the rest. He's not an extremist. The best version of who you want to be isn't the guy that's just closed-minded on one thing, is he? He looks at everything, considers everything. So for your own sake, don't feed into that mindset and apply a bit of balance into your life and understand that, okay, when I do indulge in, playing video games every now and then or fucking going out drinking on the weekend, whatever your vice may be, if you genuinely 10 out of 10 enjoy that thing, I'm not trying to tell you not to do it. I'm just trying to tell you to understand what's going on in your brain when you indulge in these things so you don't get addicted to it. Because at any point, and I know this is like cliche, this is what all the addicts say, but at any point, if I realize, I don't really want to do this anymore, I can literally instantly just never do it ever again. And that's exactly what I did with pornography and pretty much video games as well. I don't even remember the last time I played video games. Every now and then, once every 6 months, I might come and play some video games with my boy, just for the nostalgia. But you know how good it feels to have that full control over my mind and body, knowing that every single action I take, I was in complete control of it. I don't feel like there's this external force pulling me. It's all me. And that's because I understand that dopamine is only ever manipulated, it's only ever overloaded if you don't balance it out with some level of discomfort or pain in your life. So in order to make sure you're not getting addicted to these dopamine substances, you must have some sort of discomfort or some sort of pain, positive pain in your life on a daily basis. This could be the gym. This could be running, cardio. This could be working on your business. That's quite uncomfortable. It's painful at times, right? Just doing something else, having something else in your life to focus your energy onto so that you don't get hooked on this one thing, which is just pleasure, 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 dopamine, dopamine. You have to have some of a focus where you're putting your energy into that replaces that dopamine habit if it gets too much. That's step one. Understand the pain and pleasure balance and make sure you're keeping it on a balanced scale. You're not allowing one to just overtake the other. That's number one, all right? Cold showers, things like that. This is why when you take a cold shower, when you go for a run, when you go to the gym and you do these painful activities, that's why you feel good afterwards. Because your brain's balancing it out with dopamine, healthy dopamine. So that's number one, keep that in mind. Number two is a very, I would say, controversial mindset because it goes against every other bit of advice you've heard on the internet. All the other self-improvement advice, everything Hamza said, goes against everything. But it's the only way to really kick this addiction. And I remember, and no disrespect, I'm not really going to name anyone, but I had this person that I used to have in my life a couple of years ago. And this person was addicted to drugs for quite a while before I met the person. And then, she got back into it again after that. And she always used to say, once an addict, always an addict, I guess. Kind of just giving up, being defeated by the situation as if she's always going to be this addict. And I've always seen these like Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, where they all sit around the thing and they're all like, we're all addicts. This is so hard. It's all part of the journey. It's supposed to be difficult. And it's a temptation. Just fight every day as if it's some sort of struggle. Now, can you guess what that's doing to you if you put yourself in that mindset? Every single day, if you put yourself in the mindset and you identify as the addict and you genuinely believe that once you get addicted to something, fucking battery's gonna die. I'm the worst YouTuber ever, bro. Once you get addicted to something, that's it. I'm stuck now. That's it for the rest of my life. I have to battle this addiction. I could say genuinely I was addicted to video games when I was like 16, 17. I was genuinely addicted. It's all I would do all day. 16 hours straight. It was like a full-time fucking job. To be fair, I was making money off of it. I did YouTube back then. I was doing streaming and stuff, and I was making money back then. But still, I was addicted, right? If I wanted to come off of it, I genuinely don't think I could have. However, when I really realized, okay, video games isn't good for me, I should probably take some time away from it to, actually get the things I want out of life. When I realized that, I never fed into the belief of, I'm an addict. I was going to be so hard to quit. No, I just got up and just decided that that's just not what I'm going to do anymore. So number one is your belief. You have to believe first and foremost that you are the kind of man that has full control over his body, over his hands, over his mind, over his brain, the thoughts that he thinks, and the thoughts that he chooses to listen to. When you take full accountability and responsibility like that, no external thing is going to take hold of you. It's not like it's this battle. It's not like, oh, once an addict, always an addict. No. The same day I decide that something's bad for me and I never want to do it again is the same day that I never touch it again. Simple, because I'm in complete control. You must believe that. Okay? That's step one. Step two to this is just freedom of choice. So if you look at the situation and you're thinking, oh, I'm not allowed to do that because then I'll fail self-improvement. This is why I hate the whole self-improvement thing, right? Or, well, Hamza said this is bad. Andrew Tate said this is bad, so I'm never allowed to do it. Number one, let me just make something very, very clear when I talk about balance and things like that. You can do whatever you want to do and still achieve the goals that you want as long as you are committed and consistent with the activities that are getting you closer to that goal. So I could go out literally tomorrow, get absolutely blackout wasted, come back the next day, work on my goals and still be successful. You understand? So there isn't a set way of doing anything. It's not like, oh, you have to do this and you can't do that in order to be successful. Absolutely not. You decide what that is and you create your own reality as a result of that. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Don't have this mindset as if, oh, I have to do things a certain way in order to achieve a certain result. You don't. There are a million different ways you can get the same result. So just keep that in mind. If you do enjoy drinking alcohol, if you do enjoy smoking weed, I'm not condoning any of this stuff. Obviously, your life would be, especially as a young man, your life would be much better without any of these vices. But if it really is that fun and you really do enjoy it that much, go and fucking do it every now and then. But of course, in moderation. Be mindful, be disciplined, balance it out, like I said before. But what I will say to anyone that is struggling with a pornography addiction or video games or alcohol or whatever, and you really do want to kick it, you genuinely don't even enjoy it, you just want it out of your life. This is the controversial part. Give yourself the choice to do it. Instead of running away from it, instead of resisting it, instead of thinking, I can't ever do that ever again, allow yourself the choice of doing it and then simply never choose to do it ever again. The reason I say this is because if I told you right now, don't think of a red car. Don't think of a red car. Just whatever you do, do not think of a red car. At some point, on a long enough time frame, if I keep saying it to you, you probably just did then. You're going to think of a red car. So whatever you try not to do is going to enter your mind. Because your mind's a curious creature, right? It wants to understand things. It wants to work things out. So if you're like, no, you're not allowed to do that, it craves that freedom of choice. Well, why? I want to be able to do everything. I've got free will for a reason. So by you restricting yourself, by you saying, no, I'm not allowed to do something, you're actually just keeping yourself in this never-ending cycle. This is why in my personal experience with Muslim girls, for example, I've told this story before, but there's plenty of times where Muslim girls have come to me and, you know, they grew up in a strict Muslim household. You're not allowed to do this, no sex before marriage, that kind of thing. You can see where this is going, right? But then they meet me, and because them as an individual, they don't really want to be a strict Muslim, but they've grown up and they've been forced to do that. You're not allowed to do this is a sin, you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to do this. So then in mind, that's constantly curious about it. Well, why? I want to know why. I want to figure it out. I want to do it now because I've been told I'm not allowed to. So like if I'm telling you you're not allowed to do a certain thing ever again, part of you is going to want to do it just out of curiosity, if anything else. So, and that's no disrespect to any religion, by the way. It's just something that I've noticed. It's just an observation I've realised with certain individuals that are told they have to live a certain way. Sometimes they grow up and rebel against that. So it's quite interesting. Now, what I do recommend is you give yourself the freedom of choice to go and watch porn, to go and play video games, to go and drink alcohol. Give yourself the choice to do the thing that you don't want to do. Accept it as a possibility. Accept it as an outcome. Don't resist it. Don't try and detach from it. Just accept it. But then simply just choose not to do it. I don't tell myself that, oh, I'm not allowed to do this, I'm not allowed to do it. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm not on a movement. I'm not on a diet. I'm not following anyone else's advice. I am my own man. I'll live life exactly how I want to live it. So I have all the opportunities, I have all the choices in the world. However, I just choose not to do certain things because they don't serve me. And this allows me to stay in complete control over my entire consciousness. Very, very powerful way of looking at it. If you would like to learn more from myself and the way that I see the world and from the mistakes that I've made, so you don't have to make the same ones, you can save yourself the years I've had to learn this kind of knowledge and instantly get to where you want to be, then the coaching is down below in the description. You've also got a sexual mastery course down in the description as well. If you are struggling with pornography, premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, anything like that, any sexual issue, the course is down below in the description or the comment section. Go and check it out at least. That's the least you could do. All right? Promise you the best decision, the best investment you'll ever make. Look after yourself, and I'll see you soon.